Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sibos and welcome to our panel session that we call How Much Resilience is Enough? My name is Mike Fish. I'm the Chief Information Officer of Swift and Head of the Technology and Operations for the company. I'll also be the moderator of the panel today. First panelist, immediately to my right, I have Wolfgang Gärtner. Welcome, Wolfgang.
Thank you.
Immediately across the table, we have Alan Goldstein. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Mike.
Last but not least, to my left, we have Christine Larson. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
For the purpose of this panel discussion, what we mean by resilience is the ability to keep our critical financial services up and running 24/7 by 365 with few interruptions, and when an interruption does happen, the ability to recover quickly. Wolfgang, in Deutsche Bank, how much is resilience a differentiating factor?
Resilience is a differentiating factor when the crisis hits. So everybody's measured, and whoever is not able to react well or to react fast, on from that point in time has a massive trust and trust problem. Because you will only win business with large counterparties or insourcing business, third-party business, if you provide the resilience, the stability, if they can trust you, and if they know they do not have to do all the investments we are doing as a large bank.
Alan, how about for you?
I think it's a differentiating quality, but you really can't be in business without it. At the same time, given the cost that drives a lot of these initiatives, you really have to have a certain level of scale to justify the maintenance of that level of investment. Swift is an unusual animal, if you will, from a technology sense, because your product set is fairly consistent. And while it evolves, you have the luxury over 30 years to evolve the same set of capabilities and functionality. And so you have what I believe is best-in-class resiliency. A lot of us don't have quite as simple a situation to manage. We have mergers, acquisitions, legacy systems of an age that with a lot of connectivity to customers. So we don't always have the same options around simplifying our infrastructures, et cetera. It's a continual emphasis.
Christine, I wanted to ask you, do you have investment objectives within JP Morgan in terms of how much to spend on resilience, or do you approach it a different way?
I think the bigger challenge for us is around the innovative new products. And does resiliency sort of slow down time to market? And if you're trying to do something new, especially in the securities space, and you're just figuring out how to do it for the first time, how are you going to do it at two places at the same time? And this is where we're going to need some more out of technology, I think.
Wolfgang, over to you. Do you see any opportunities in increasing regulation and resilience pressure?
Actually, yes. It's quite interesting because, Alan, you mentioned legacy environments that everybody has in their firm. There's areas where we would like to invest as CIOs. There's no, at least in the past, there was never a good business case to replace a core banking system or to replace the infrastructure in a certain country because the business case just didn't fly. These business cases start to fly now because if you are forced to continuously invest into regulation, into risk management, into resilience, stability, you invest a lot of money into platforms that functionally you don't develop anymore. Mm-hmm. So looking at that, I have an increasing number of cases where it's worth cleaning up the environment completely to eliminate the legacy and put in something truly new. So in that sense, I have justification for cases where I didn't have justification before.
Christine, do you think there should be a more collaborative, forward-looking dialogue between the financial services industry and regulators to define appropriate levels of resilience?
One of the things that I do think we are going to need to do is to band together around common testing and be able to say, this piece is handled, we don't need to do it separately. Even with vendors, I think there's an opportunity that we're not pursuing. But one of the things that we've put in place is our CLS gateway is backed up by ability to send SWIFT traffic. And I think we need to think about how we put the pieces together. So just like we have the network resiliency, how does the financial information also not be self-healing, but have alternate paths that are used? So we send a little CLS traffic through SWIFT every day. And in the event that something happened to our CLS gateway, we would just ramp the volume the other way.
I suspect there's a lot that each of you can learn from each other in terms of the way resilience is done. What are your thoughts there in terms of institutions learning from each other through benchmarks or other things?
We have all very bright people in our organizations. We have a lot of best practices. If we combine them even more, I think as an industry we will be better and we can deal with these topics better. And I think then we will help to create even more confidence and trust in that financial industry.
You know, we're in Amsterdam, right? So it is like a bicycle chain, and it's the weakest link that we have to worry about. And I think the question before us is, how do we share the right kinds of information and put the right things together so that we can find that weak link? And as we said, when we find that one, then there'll be another one, which automatically, right, you fix your worst problem, you immediately have another worst problem.
For me, the demands are a fact. The new threats and challenges are a fact. We should not defensively look at it and fix one problem after the other, but use that as a trigger for innovation and change. And if we do that, I think we will have benefits that go far beyond resilience in itself.
I also think an interesting part of just the use of new technology is, in my own view, especially at Swift, you know, we have to do a lot just to keep a couple of steps ahead of the bad guys. I mean, we have a lot of, the threats are ever increasing that we see, cyber risks, fraud, you know, terrorism, the risks seem to be ever increasing, and we need to deploy new technologies and so forth just to meet the risk. How do you meet the elevated risk? How do you harness the new technology and other things? I think it's a key challenge for us and a key challenge for all. I'd like to thank you very much for your participation today, and let's go to lunch.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.